In the 1940s, the U.S. government erased an entire American town from the maps. There was no news about it, no public records, no official explanations given. And the people who lived there, they were given just 30 days to disappear. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't some fictional story. This actually happened right here in the United States. Families were forced out of their homes. Roads that had been there for generations simply vanished. The town's name was physically removed from maps, and for decades, the American public was not allowed to know why. This is the incredible true story of Hanford, Washington, the town America made disappear before World War II. Hanford was just like any other quiet, rural town in America. It was a small farming community nestled along the beautiful Columbia River in eastern Washington. Only a few hundred people lived there. They had their schools, their churches, their family farms. Life was simple. People grew fruit, raised cattle, and enjoyed the peaceful rhythm of their lives. It was an ordinary place, a community where everyone knew each other, a place people expected to pass down to their children. Then, in early 1943, without any warning, everything changed forever. It started one morning when U.S. Army officials arrived in town, unannounced. They weren't there for a friendly visit. They carried legal documents and direct orders from the highest levels of government in Washington, D.C. The message was blunt and non-negotiable. Residents were told that their land, their homes, everything they owned, now belonged to the United States government. They were given a deadline. Some had as little as 30 days, others up to 90 to pack up their entire lives and leave. Naturally, people were shocked. They demanded answers. Why was this happening? Where were they supposed to go? But no explanation would be given. The officials were firm. This was a matter of national security. Some families were offered small, often inadequate payments for their property. Others, particularly tenant farmers, lost everything they had worked for with almost no compensation. Imagine being told you have to abandon the only home you've ever known. You're not allowed to know why. After the residents were forced out, the military moved in and sealed off the entire area. Hanford was effectively locked down. What happened next was swift and systematic. Road signs leading to the town were taken down. Official state and national maps were redrawn, and the name Hanford was simply removed. If you tried to look it up, it was like the town never existed. Mail delivery was stopped. All public records of the town were classified. Hanford, Washington, was no longer an officially recognized place. The entire region was surrounded by fences and armed guards, who patrolled the perimeter 24 hours a day. The few civilians who were brought into work on the site had to sign strict secrecy oaths. They were told that if they ever spoke about what they saw or did there, they would face federal prison time or worse. The government was building a wall of silence around this empty land. So what was the monumental secret that was worth erasing an entire American town? The reason was the Manhattan Project. Hanford had been chosen as a key site for America's top secret, high-stakes mission to build the world's first atomic bomb. The quiet farming town was about to become the epicenter of the nuclear age. At Hanford, the government constructed massive, secret nuclear reactors on an industrial scale never seen before. The B reactor, the world's first full-scale plutonium production reactor, was built here in just over a year. Its singular, chilling purpose was to produce plutonium. This was the same fissile material that would later be used to fuel the Fat Man bomb, the one dropped on the city of Nagasaki, Japan, which helped bring an end to World War II. Tens of thousands of workers were brought to the site. They lived in a sprawling, hastily built camp nearby, but most had absolutely no idea what they were actually building. They were told they were working on a war project, and that was it. The project was compartmentalized to ensure secrecy. A chemist might know their specific task, but they wouldn't know how it connected to what the engineer next door was doing. This secrecy extended all the way to the top. Even most members of Congress were kept in the dark about the true nature and astronomical costs of the Manhattan Project. Hanford was so secret that it remained off many public maps for years, even after the war was over. After the war ended and the world learned about the atomic bomb, the truth about Hanford slowly started to come out. The town was gone, but its legacy was just beginning. Over the decades, Hanford would become known as one of the most radioactively contaminated sites in the entire Western Hemisphere. The process of producing plutonium had generated immense quantities of toxic nuclear waste, much of which was stored in aging underground tanks that began to leak. The cleanup effort at Hanford is now one of the largest and most expensive environmental projects in world history. It's expected to take many more decades and cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The former residents, who were forced to leave in 1943, never got to return. Their homes, their farms, their entire town were gone forever, demolished and buried. Sacrificed for a weapon that fundamentally changed the course of human history. So why does this story from 80 years ago still matter so much today? The story of Hanford is a chilling reminder of what can happen when national security and fear collide with individual rights. It shows that in a time of extreme crisis, the U.S. government was willing and able to erase an entire community from existence and keep that secret hidden from its own people for generations. And perhaps the most unsettling part is that Hanford wasn't the only place. Other communities, like in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Los Alamos, New Mexico, were also taken over for the Manhattan Project. Hanford is just one of the most dramatic examples that we eventually learn about. It makes you wonder what else we might not know. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more hidden histories. See you next time.